Hello lovelies, Zayala here, shooting a new video. How's it going? And this is part 11. No, I mean part 12. Shit, forgot. Of what if Deku was the son of the one and only Alfred 1. Ah, let me get comfortable. Yeah, there we go. And we last left off on where Izuku went to his apartment. But then he felt pretty bummed, so he left. On the way, he saw Chaco and Mina in the rain, alone, and he told them, "Come on down to my apartment. Nothing sexual. I'm not that kind of guy." And so after a while, the girls went to sleep. Izuku went to bed. As soon as he closed his eyes, he heard that girl say, "I love you." Well, not that girl, but like a female voice. Yeah. And we start off here. When Izuku heard that voice, he jumped with his eyes wide open, wondering what the hell was that voice, or who was it. So he went into the living room to see if Mina or either Chaco were still asleep, and if they weren't the voice that he heard. But they were still passed out. And when he checked the door to see if there was anyone or the door was unlocked, he found that it was unlocked, and he told himself, well, shit. Then he heard of the same voice down the hall, saw a female figure holding a knife, and since Izuku knew he was fast as hell, he should be able to stop her till before she takes a step. But as soon as he took one foot in the female voice said, "You shouldn't do that, sweetie, or I'll have to press the shiny red button. And 2 girls will die." As soon as she said that, he turned around and saw Mina and Araka were laying on micro bombs, strong enough to blow up their heads. So he said, "Alright, so who the hell are you? What do you want?" Then the mystery girl stepped out of the shadows and said, "Well, your love, Toga. And I want you, darling." Then Izuku told himself, well, double shit. But he was mostly surprised that she found where he lived and was able to break in without waking the girls. Or freaking hardly, he didn't even know when she showed up, probably when he left. So, he was impressed, but pretty pissed, that she had micro detonators next to 2 people he cares about, and broke into his apartment. So his eyes started to glow white as his anger grew, but he took a deep breath and said, "What do you want? And why'd you come here? Just for me?" "Well, when I make something mine, it is mine, and it will be mine, no matter where I go or what happens." Her saying that Izuku, shit, sorry, can't think right now. Her annoying Izuku to tell himself that I don't know, like Izuku thought to himself that this chick is persistent, like holy hell, and he needs to find a way to see if he can do something to prevent her on detonating the microbombs. So he just tried to negotiate. So what he did was he thought of a little plan. He was going to see if he can negotiate to see if she can leave. But like she said, she was only here for just for him. So Izuku thought to himself that things were going to be more complicated since he's the reason why she's here. He just told her to come with him on the roof so they can talk. But really, before they can get out of range, so if Toga presses the button, nothing will happen. Izuku has spent a lot of time with her, so he knows she doesn't think ahead. So he has a plan. When Toga and Izuku were talking, and he said something that she didn't really agree with, it made her a hell of a lot furious, and pressed the button, but nothing really happened. So he tackled her down, but they both fell off the balcony. Off the roof of the building they're staying at, and luckily landed on top of a building next to them. Right, a nearby building. As they fought and fought, a dark purple mist surrounds them. Izuku, in angry, quiet tone, thought to himself. He thought that Kurogiri was captured, but then Kurogiri showed himself and said, "Sorry for Toga's actions." She was excited, but we need to talk, Mr. Midoriya. And when Kurogiri said, "Mr. Midoriya," Izuku was wondering what the hell was going on and why he was so formal. After Kurogiri was explaining that now that their main boss is in prison and their second command is dead because of Izuku, and he is their main boss's son, he is next in charge of the League of Villains. Izuku was trying to process what Kurogiri was saying, that he is now the new boss. While he was thinking, Kurogiri said, "I know it's a lot to take in, but now that both our leaders are not here, we need to find a suitable candidate. And it happens to be you, son of All for One." Now that he said that, Izuku knew that he was going. Now that Kurogiri knew who his leader's son was, he thought to himself, why the hell not? And why they mostly picked him to be their new leader, not just for killing their second in command, but also being their main boss's son. Izuku trained and worked hard to be a hero for his whole life, and to expect to follow in his mother's wishes, but all what has happened, the people who doubted him, he wanted to follow in his mother's wishes, but the one person who doubted him, and the shit that he's been through, and now him being an orphan, he said, I'll consider it. Or he looked down in disappointment to himself, but in happiness too. To take his anger and those who deserve it. When morning came, the three UA students walked to school together, and they were walking, and Izuku was walking the girls to school, but the two also knew that something was wrong with him. So on the way to school, they try to think of an idea to cheer him up, since this is mostly the most they have ever seen him pretty bummed out. And when school's over, the whole class in 1A decided to, say screw it, let's have a surprise party for Midoriya, since he's been through a lot of crazy stuff the last week. So when school was over, Class 1A went out to the mall and had some fun. But Bakugo, being a jackass, he decided to not go and show up, since he still didn't like Midoriya. And he didn't give, but what he did give to him was pity. And knowing that Midoriya, knowing that Bakugo didn't care but just gave him pity, grew more hatred towards him. As the day was over, and shit, sorry. As the day was over and they were done hanging out, the class all went home, and Izuku was on his way to his apartment. And when he was there, he saw Todoroki. He hoped he hoped he was just going to talk, or something like that. He really did not want to have an after party, because that was something he did not want to deal with. After him and Todoroki talked, he gave Midoriya an envelope and said, "It's for my family and me." Then walked away. He went inside his apartment and opened the letter and saw a lot of money, and counted it and realized that's a lot of that's enough money to pay for his apartment bills. And there was a letter that said, "For you won't be homeless. You will have our support." Signed, the Todoroki family. He was pretty happy that Todoroki and his family would supported him, and also wondering on how the hell they knew about his living issues. But pretty bummed out about that he had to tell All Might that he has money from the Todorokis and can't stay where All Might lives. That's pretty good, actually, because he was on the move to stay with anyone. But later on the next day, him and All Might talked about the money and everything. And All Might also knew that something was a bit bothering young Midoriya for quite a while since they last talked. But he just wanted to wait wait and see if something serious. But in reality, it was Izuku's thinking about Kurogiri's offer, giving him a chance to get revenge, and become the new leader of the villains. So after they were done talking, and another day went by, he went home, and when he walked in his apartment, he just saw Toga fast asleep on the couch. But before I continue with this story, I would like to say Happy Pride Month, and celebrate or support however you can, or however whatever people do on Pride Month. That's all I like to say. And now we continue with the story. With the story, now when Izuku finds Toga in his apartment, he was pretty pissed that he found her in his house again. But pretty freaking curious on how the hell she keeps on breaking in his apartment without any showing of any signs breaking, except for the door. But now he doesn't even notice it anymore. But she was here to see if Midoriya was going to take the league's offer of being the new leader and become a villain and betray the people he loves and trusts, especially the people who trusted him, but also remembers the one person who has always doubted him, ridiculed him, hated him for who he is and what he has, Bakugo. And Toga was talking about the League of Villains. Out of nowhere, Izuku looked at her with bright purple eyes, with lightning sparking out of his eyes and hands. Then in a deep, angry voice, he said, "Fine, I'll lead your crew, and you will follow my orders." While Toga was staring at him with her eyes and and smile was starting to freaking get bigger and bigger. But she started to blush, starting to turn like real bright freaking red. But knowing what was hers is now back with her. Then they finished talking, and then Toga was about to leave out of the window, and then knock. But at his door, there's a knock. But then Midoriya both thought, not now. But it was Ida and Naraka when he looked out the window. When Midoriya was going to tell Toga to run, she was already gone, like she wasn't even there. When Midoriya was opening the door to let Ida and Naraka in, he saw a very disappointed and upset look on their face. And they both said, we need to talk. Well, that's all I got for now. And as always, leave a comment what you think. Subscribe, share with your friends. Let me know, like I said, what ifs you want me to do. Like if Deku was Aquaman, imagine that. Speak to fish. Yeah, that's, I don't know, it's kind of cool when I say it, when I think about it, but yeah. Well, like I said, subscribe, comment with your friends, let's grow the channel, and peace.